You set?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Welcome to episode 33 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC Anime Universe co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And today we have the return of Hardak. We've got some Maxi Zeus. But before that, Cameron, what is happening in the world of comic book news? I have nothing.
There's been a decent amount of stuff pop up this week. I don't know if you saw this, but the new sci-fi show, Krypton, had its trailer come out.
I, for the life of me, could not
week.
find a link to that actually worked. Every time I tried to watch it, it was dead.
It was on Vimeo of all. That's where I found it, of all places.
The fuck? Why?
Yeah, because that's what I feel like. That's what sci-fi would do.
I guess
they're trying to act more like non-mainstream, so they don't use YouTube.
Yeah, that's a smart strategy.
I don't know. It's sci-fi. They don't market their things well.
But I mean, I saw positive reactions to it, but I haven't watched it. Did it look good?
Yeah, it's basically the trailer looked good.
Mm-hmm.
The show sounds interesting because you followed Jor-El and House L before Krypton blows up.
Yeah, but it's not even Jor-El. Like, isn't it like Jor-El's grandfather or something?
It might be. I just remember you follow House L.
Okay, yeah.
Someone in the comments explained it as Gotham for Superman, which terrifies me.
Also, we already had that. It was called Smallville.
Well, yeah, but this is like even like a kid because it's not even Superman.
Yeah,
and it's not Batman. It's not Bruce becoming Batman. It's Bruce just being a little bitch.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. It looks fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably give it an episode.
I probably won't even.
But with more trailers, we got Cloak and Dagger, which is going to be on Freeform.
That did look pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about those characters.
Neither do I. I remember they were in 2 episodes of the most recent Spider-Man show. And that's about all I have. Marvel, or not Marvel. Who owns X-Men? Fox. Damn it. Fox announced that there are now 3 X-Men movies coming out next year.
Yeah.
We're getting a New Mutants movie, which is going to be a new stream. Or it's not going to be a continuation of anything, supposedly.
Oh, okay.
And then we're getting Deadpool 2, obviously. And then Dark Phoenix, which will be a continuation of the kind of younger mutants that we've seen so far.
Yeah, so we finally got... that's right, I forgot about this. We got confirmed release dates for all 3 of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because New Mutants has been in the works for a while, but we still don't know that much about it.
Right. And then the news that I was most excited for, and I was really hoping... I'm glad you didn't look it up because it made my heart sing when they announced this. Do you remember the Jackie Chan Adventure show?
Oh, I did see something about this. They're doing a new one, right?
They're making a new Jackie Chan Adventure show.
Does it have anything to do with the old one?
Not a bit, except Jackie's actually going to be in it instead of...
Oh, that's right. Was it not his voice?
Nope.
Why?
It was just his likeness.
Why would...
Because he was busy doing other shit in the early 2000s. He was a busy man.
That's true. He was really busy at the time.
Yeah.
He's still busy now. Like, he does everything on his movies.
Yeah.
He does the fucking catering.
Of course, yeah, of course. Yeah. He what was the big thing? He covers all of the health insurance by himself.
Does he really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Which makes sense because you have to trust your kind of coordinator.
Yeah.
And when he's the one who probably gets injured more than anyone else on set,
yeah, that's true.
It makes sense for him to have the best insurance policy.
Oh, he's such an incredible guy.
I know.
I love him.
But yeah, it's going to be a little different from the animated series. It's going to be just Chinese for now. Okay. And I think it's catering towards a younger audience because it's supposed to be very like moral heavy. Okay. But it's him teaming. It's called the J Team. Mm-hmm. Has nothing to do with the show, with the team inside of the first show. But
were they called the J Team?
Yeah, it was him, El Toro Forte, Viper, and
I remember just the niece and the grandfather.
Uncle and Jade, yeah.
Yeah. Who are those other people?
El Toro Forte originally had the bull talisman.
Oh, wait,
he was the luchador, and his kind of protege / biggest fan was Paco, who would always fight with Jade because they would argue who was the best fighter in the world, Jackie or El Toro Forte.
Oh.
Yeah, that guy.
All comes together now. That's right.
And then Viper was basically their universe's Catwoman. She was a kind of a thief turned spy who kind of had an off and on relationship with Jackie. And then Uncle and Toru.
Okay. Yeah. Now I forgot that towards the end of the series they had brought in like the whole team together.
That was awesome.
The things I've forgotten in so many years. But that's exciting though.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. New Jackie Chan Adventures. Hopefully we'll find a way to see it here. You'll find a way to see it here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's not gonna stop you.
And then kind of, I thought this was interesting mainly because I've been in Disney mode all week. There were rumors about the voice of Genie in the Guy Ritchie Aladdin movie. Did you hear who?
Will Smith.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, fine.
When is the last time he's done kind of that like quirky Fresh Prince character though?
So I was actually listening to Empire podcast, so the British film magazine, not the Fox TV show, the podcast, their podcast, and they were talking about that today, that Will Smith, and it was like he hasn't done full-on comedy mode in a long time. Like one can maybe argue Men in Black 3 was him in like kind of action comedy mode.
Yeah.
But since then it's mostly been more serious stuff. So I'm fine with it. I think that's a good choice to bring in someone who's got that kind of energy and like weirdness and kind of sense of fun. So yeah, I mean if you're going to make that movie and you obviously can't use Robin Williams anymore, then why not? Sure.
Is there anyone else that you would want to play that role? Because there were two names thrown out that one is the most obvious answer, and the second one I thought was pretty interesting.
What were the other two?
The most obvious answer is The Rock.
Oh, no.
You don't think?
I don't think he's very funny, but I don't think the way you need that character to be.
Yeah. There was someone made this analogy with that, which I thought was pretty funny, but The Rock, today's Rock is what 90s Will Smith was to 90s kids.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, he's kind of does everything, is adored by everyone.
Yeah, everyone loves him. He does like every genre possible. You know, most of his stuff seems to make a shitload of money.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, he's a tolerable point in Fast and the Furious for me. So,
and soon to be in the Baywatch franchise.
Yeah,
or movie. I don't know if it's going to be. I hope it's going to be a franchise.
I hope so too. Yeah, that actually does look entertaining.
Yeah,
I'm kind of excited about that one. And not just for Zac Efron.
I'm in it for Zac Efron.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Wait, but who was the other person that was rumored for?
Keeping it in the Disney family. It'd be interesting. I don't know how he would do it, but Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, okay. Yeah, again.
He doesn't have that, like, high energy.
Yeah. I mean, obviously his involvement in everything is better for it. Like,
right.
But, yeah, I don't know if I want to say... I don't know. It's hard to think of someone who would... There's not really a modern day version of Robin Williams.
Yeah, no one has that like eccentric comedy right now. It's all
the nature of how comedy is done has shifted so much. You know, it's much more of the I don't know. There's the mumblecore thing, but it's just kind of
it's more storytelling focused now. It's always kind of been storytelling focused, but now it's like
it doesn't have the manic energy that he brought to it.
Yeah, it's now a lot of like the Louis and the John Mulaney's and
Although I would love to see Louis C.K. as the genie. It'd be a completely different version of that character, completely different, but also absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
that's my new vote.
All right,
Louis C.K.
for Genie in Guy Ritchie's live action Aladdin film.
Why? I don't know why.
I hope it's like it's not even CGI. It's just like Louis C.K. poorly painted blue.
And just kind of maybe made it slightly translucent and just kind of floating there.
He's like, I'll do. Yeah,
balding, beard, the whole thing. I would actually really love to see
that. Is that really what you're going to wish for? You have 3 wishes. Yeah. You're going to wish for that.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. All right.
Whatever.
Sure.
Let's do it.
That's what I want to see.
All right. That's what we're going to get.
Okay. So I forgot there was actually a lot of like small news stories this last week. I forgot all of them.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of all the news that I had.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we've both been sitting waiting for the Kingsman trailer to drop, and we're recording this probably right before. It's probably going to happen like right as we're done rapping on this thing. It'll hit.
But I mean, luckily for the people listening to this is going to come out tomorrow.
Yeah, this is the latest we've ever recorded.
We're recording it very late.
Yeah.
But for the people listening, the trailer will already be out.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it next week.
It's going to be exciting, maybe. Who knows? Who knows what'll happen in the world before then?
Right.
So... But until then, we're talking His Silicon Soul.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It was kind of dark.
It was really dark. Actually,
I liked the like robot perspective story because it's not really like a big Hollywood storyline that we see a lot, and it was where it's the robot starts believing he was human and then slowly dissolves.
Have you ever seen the movie? No, not a big movie. Ever seen the movie The Sixth Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I have not.
I'm not gonna say it's particularly good, but I kind of like the world building in it.
Okay,
because it's weirdly satirical, but it's it's a world where they have this thing called like repets, where basically your pet dies and they'll give you a clone of your pet.
Okay,
so cloning exists, but it's not allowed on humans, but through like some sort of thing.
Of course, someone has to do it.
And so Arnold Schwarzenegger gets cloned, and I guess spoilers for what is now like a 12-year-old movie, but the majority of the storyline is told from the perspective of the clone. So he thinks he's the real person. And then he starts to eventually figure out, like, oh, no, I'm the clone, and it's this whole thing. So it's basically more or less this storyline.
Okay.
The difference being is that we see within the first, 2 minutes that it's the robot.
Right.
They just jump to it right away, which I guess is better.
Did you know immediately when he jumped out of the crate that it was a robot?
I mean, I yes, just because I knew that's what this episode was about. And also, it's like, why would Batman lock himself in a crate?
But that's the thing. He would. And that was what I was thinking when the robot popped out.
Yeah,
I was like, obviously it's a robot that has the Hardak logo, but then I paused it and I'm like, but this is definitely something Batman. We've seen Batman go to these crazy extremes where he would totally lock himself in a crate that he knew was going to get robbed.
He does have a flair for the dramatic.
Yeah.
So, and that is really fucking dramatic.
I was really hoping, because obviously the robot gets shot immediately after.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that it was the actual Batman, and Hardak was in the next crate.
Yeah. Would have been an incredibly short episode. He busts out of the crate, just gets shot, and it's like, oh.
Well, I mean, he would dodge
shit, we killed Batman. Like, what do we... Let's get out of here. What do we do now? Yeah, but it's interesting, though, because the robot that's in this is such a huge leap away from the robots before, right? So before... they didn't mirror their subject's personality at all, right? Like, it was a dead giveaway that they weren't them, because they were like these lumbering automatons who didn't know how to behave. And I mean, they explain it that this is like a super advanced model that got popped out of Hardak right before the place blew up. But yeah, I mean, this is nothing like the duplicates that were in the last one, because this one actually has all of Bruce's memories, and all this information.
Yeah. As Hardak says, his not as Hardak, as what was the guy's name? Blossom.
Oh,
isn't it Blossom?
No, it's not Blossom.
Bubbles and Buttercup.
Yeah,
dedicating their lives.
God. Oh, Rossum. You were closer than I thought you were. Yeah. Okay. Fine. All right.
Well, what were the words that he said? He said, "You have data." That was it.
Oh yeah, because he's like, you think you have
memories.
The mind of a man inside a robot's body, but you just are a robot.
Yeah, you have information, data, and nothing else.
Yeah, it doesn't remember specific things, but just I for a while I'm like, how the hell did they know this? And I forgot that Hardak knew that Bruce was Batman.
Yeah,
I forgot most of that episode.
It's 2 episodes in a row where someone knows Batman's identity.
Oh yeah, it's getting out there, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's got to watch it.
Good thing the World Wide Web doesn't exist yet.
But doesn't it, though?
This episode hinted that it does.
Yeah. I feel like there's been a number of episodes that have hinted at an internet. I mean, the internet did exist in this time. It just wasn't...
Right, but this is supposed to be Art Deco 60s.
No.
Oh, I guess it changes.
Well, no, we've established that it's still set in the 90s. Like, there have been
there was
dates.
there
have been dates on things with the 90s. But it's like a weird version of the 90s.
Yeah.
So...
It's Tim Burton's 90s.
Tim Burton had some weird 90s. But
it only got weirder.
I would almost say he got more normal.
In Batman Returns?
Well, but I thought you meant from the 90s till now.
Oh, no. I'm talking from Batman 89 to Batman 92.
But I actually think that the world of Returns is more interesting than the world of 89. Even if it's not traditionally Batman, I like that world actually a lot. Mm-hmm. But I'm also a huge defender of that movie.
I know you are. So. Just like I'm a defender of the 95 Batman.
Ugh. Well. But what was I talking about? Oh, internet may have been a thing in this world.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't that what the whole plot was, that Hardak was going to get uploaded to the internet?
Kind of.
Where was he going? Where was he trying to go mean, this is jumping way to the end when there's like a countdown, because of course there's a countdown. But where was he trying to get uploaded to?
I don't know. I don't know, because the way he worded it, it sounded like everyone had a computer already.
Yeah.
But I guess just like the government computers.
I guess
he was trying, and the way that I interpreted this was he was trying to start Skynet.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of the impression I got too. Like, was he trying to get out there so he could get everyone's information so he could build duplicates of everybody, right?
Yeah, I think so. Because at the end, you know what? We're gonna save that.
Okay,
we're gonna let's jump back a quick sec.
Yeah. So we know that the robot's on the run. He has all of Bruce's memories. He goes back to the house, runs into Alfred, who is like freaked out, and it's like, "You're a robot. You're a duplicate."
Yeah.
Run to the Batcave. Try and knock him out with gas.
Yeah.
On a robot.
Yeah.
Why?
Alfred hasn't been in the field in a while. Last time he was out in the field, they didn't have robots.
I guess
he only knows how to fight humans.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't go well.
Queen's Service doesn't fight a lot of robots.
The Queen's Service?
What was he a part of?
I mean, wasn't he part of the RAF?
I don't remember.
It wasn't like RAF, and then I think that it was implied that he would have been part of like special forces.
They service the Queen. I stick with what I say.
Okay. What's happening this episode? I'm confused.
They both Batmans kind of go to Rossum's farm, because it is kind of funny that he does go from like creating robots to just creating plants.
Well, but he's still making robots, but they just are all like specifically labor robots.
Yeah, they're Rick and Morty's butter robot.
Oh my god! Yes,
what is my purpose?
The butter
Pass
robot.
butter. Oh. One of the greatest robots ever created.
Oh yeah, far more useful. So they go out to the farm. Mm-hmm. They both show up there at the same time.
Well, it's a little bit different. I assume like a 15-minute difference.
Yeah. Batman goes there and he's wondering how the robot could possibly exist.
Yeah. And then he doesn't get answers and leaves. And then Robo-Batman comes and is basically, what am I? I'm human. Someone put my mind in a robot body. We need to transfer it because this body is dying. And he's like, no, you're a robot in a robot's body. You have to understand that. And it was kind of like an interesting point, because this is where you have the twist of kind of helpless character, and you kind of like, he sees the glimmer of villainy.
Yeah.
Of like, my whole world has just changed. Like, because it's weird to think like you fully believe that you are
real,
human, and real. Yeah. The reverse Pinocchio effect.
Right. Well, yeah, and you're confronted with this this completely unfair situation where it's like, he didn't ask to be created that way, and he's stuck with the burden of consciousness, but now the reality of the fact that he's fake.
Right. And also his purpose was kind of for evil, but he doesn't know that yet. I guess his programming wasn't fully uploaded.
But you do feel bad for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Batman is having none of that shit and just tries to knock him out.
Yeah. Which eventually leads to like the whole greenhouse collapsing.
Yeah, like,
don't know why, but
I don't know. Batman has no sympathy.
No.
For this person who's trying to just live a casual life. Like Rossum he's a farm boy now. He's happy. He's content being away from the world.
Yeah.
That must be hard, going from like a tech billionaire from that day to this lifestyle.
Yeah, it's very lonely.
Yeah.
Very isolated. But
he just breaks all of his plans.
His whole greenhouse goes tumbling down, but he gets saved by the robot. So, a glimmer of hope. Maybe he's not completely evil. He's mostly evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he figures out where kind of Hardak's remains are. Robo-Batman goes, and he like, there's that sound effect again. And I don't remember what creeped me out about last week's sound effect.
Oh.
What I said.
It was the fireworks. That freaked you out.
Oh yeah, because the whistle.
The munitions. Yeah, that had the whistle beforehand.
This week's was the skin peeling off.
Yeah, and he peels it out. It's like
squish.
Yeah. It's like, do you remember? Probably they used to sell like little fart cups, which was basically yeah. I mean, it was a kind of like a mostly solid but like squishy like plastic thingy inside a cup and you just like push it and make a fart sound. It kind of sounded like that, like the weird like it's like fake organic and it just
but Hardak uploads kind of the full programming and also his programming into Robo-Batman. Now he's full evil, breaks into Batcave again, but now we're getting back to where we were a second ago.
Yeah, right. Where he's going to upload it to something.
To some computer program or to some other computer thing.
To the cloud.
Yes, to the 1990s cloud.
That version. So I love that because at the police impound warehouse or wherever where Hardak was being kept, Batman and Robo-Batman get into a fight and Batman ends up going out and like falling into the water. And Robo-Batman leaves him
because he's dead.
Because he they even talk about that he can't really kill.
Right.
Because he's programmed with Bruce's personality and so that he won't actually kill, even though he'll go pretty far. What I do love, though, is that when Robo-Batman uploads Hardak into the Bat computer and it's downloading, Batman shows up, and for whatever reason, he's like lost the lower 2/3 of his cape.
Yeah.
So he's got like little mini Batgirl cape.
Well, it's so you can distinguish who is who.
Other than the glowing red eyes,
I was waiting obvious. Because the second they like did the first tussle in the greenhouse, I was waiting for the super stereotypical "don't shoot me, he's the robot."
Which one do I shoot? Thing?
I don't know what you're talking about. So I was like waiting for that moment, like, oh, that cape's gonna play into this somehow.
Yeah,
it didn't.
No, I was just like, it just looks so silly on him. Like this tiny little Batgirl cape.
Yeah, it's fine. So then we have kind of the big fight of conscience coming back.
Yeah,
where Batman is using the knowledge that it's his clone to his advantage, being like, you can't kill anyone because you're still me. Like, no matter how much Hardak has control over you, you won't break my one rule.
Yeah.
And it was, I really thought that was interesting. It was kind of dark.
I liked it too. Yeah.
Especially because Batman's like, his way of short circuiting the robot was just like falling off a cliff.
To pretend to die, basically. They had to fall into one of the holes in the Batcave. And I did like that element. I didn't love this episode overall, but I liked that idea. That because it shows, in a weird way, it shows how much faith Bruce has in himself.
Yeah.
Right? Like he knows how close he can get to that line of ever killing someone. He won't go there. And he knows that the robot won't either. And that to have to experience that guilt will break him.
Right.
It's actually really dark.
Yeah.
But also super interesting.
And it's amazing that less than 3 minutes earlier, you see a full set of samurai armor and weapons in the Batcave.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he would. He's a swordsman. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. I was just disappointed they both get their shirts on for the sword fight because that's just not how Batman rolls.
Well, we had our one moment.
Yeah, but I want more of those.
I know.
It's so delightful.
It's going to be a while.
So this episode did what I've actually always wanted to see done in a Batman feature, which is to have like some part of the climax be Batman having a sword fight in the Batcave. I don't know why I've always thought that would be such a cool idea, but just thinking about him like going up against an opponent who would know how to get access to that place and to like actually break into his most like treasured and protected environment.
Very Zorro of him.
Yeah,
since Zorro was obviously one of the main inspirations
it was a huge influence
for him.
on it. So I don't know. I've always wanted to see that, and they kind of did it a little bit. They got very close to sword fight before Batman tricked him into short circuiting and smashing the Bat computer.
Yeah,
which blows up, of course.
Yeah, and then Hardak kind of short circuits in the water.
Yeah, I guess I think it's the combination of the explosion and then the sprinklers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, finally taking him out. Although he's been exposed to water so many times so far in this episode and still rallied. Fine. But you did feel kind of bad for him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely did.
Although I didn't. I liked the idea they're going for, but then I didn't like this super on the nose little last bit of dialogue of like maybe he did have a soul. It would have been a silicon soul.
Oh, you didn't like the name drop?
But a soul nonetheless.
How do you... Oh, name drops are always the best. There was a Family Guy bit where it was Peter sitting in a theater and he was watching just a bunch of movies. It was just like a clip show of him like they would always say the title of the name in the movie and you just go, ha. And that's me. Every movie, whenever they say the name, you can look over at me and I'll just like, ha.
Okay.
They said it.
Okay. So question for you then. Has that ever happened in the Fast and the Furious franchise? Have they ever
No, but every time they say Fast and or Fate and or Furious, I point at the screen and laugh, at least in the last movie.
Did you just laugh the entire end credits of Fast and Furious 2 because it was just the ludicrous title song of Too Fast, Too Fast, Too Furious, Too Furious?
It's only when they say it in the movie.
It's the only time it counts?
Yeah. It's only when it comes from Vin Diesel's sweet, sweet lips.
Oh, God.
You guys are making me furious.
Wait, did he say that?
No.
Okay.
I wish.
I actually got a wish, too.
Oh, we saw Fast and Furious, guys.
Oh, I'm sure that'll come back around in the Bat-Plug at the end.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed at the end of this episode, obviously me looking too far into this, looking for a moral, I saw this version of Robo-Batman as like, if Batman and Bruce ever like split, because there's a couple like other TV shows that do a storyline like that.
Like Superman 3 style?
Sure.
Yeah.
I was thinking more like Danny Phantom, but that's fine. We can go Superman 3.
Yeah. Danny Phantom's actually a more sophisticated piece of storytelling, so it's fine.
He flies through a ghost net. I don't think that's sophisticated storytelling.
Yeah, you haven't seen Superman 3.
I haven't, unfortunately. Yeah. The Robo-Batman is kind of like what Batman wants to do to the city. Like, he even has that bit of dialogue between Batman and Robo-Batman of like, you can't, like, why are you doing this? And he's like, why are you fighting this? This is what you want. We're getting rid of crime and evil in the city. Yeah. And like, if the Bruce side wasn't there to inject that bit of humanity and that bit of like conscience into the situation, Robo-Batman would be doing what regular Batman kind of wants to do.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of interesting to see like it's basically like a fight between Bruce and Batman at the end.
Yeah. Well, and you could even jump back to like Ra's al Ghul, that same sort of thing, right? That they have in some way a similar goal they're trying to achieve, but that Batman has an unbreakable moral code that won't let him do these sort of things.
Right.
That, you know, that he will never achieve his means if it ever means like killing anyone, basically, or like ruining someone's life, sort of thing, or like an innocent person's life. So, yeah, it was kind of fun to watch him have to go up against his own morality, I guess, in some ways.
Yeah.
In this,
I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he comes out on top because, of course, he does.
Because he's Batman.
He's Batman. Although, okay, so as good as this is, do you remember? We'll get to this in a while, but the Justice League episode where they end up in the parallel universe versus the Justice Lords.
Yeah, Crisis of.
No.
I know, but the movie was a similar storyline.
Similar storyline, yeah. But in that one, where it's like Batman, like normal Batman, has to go up against like a kind of compromised version of himself, and like they have this huge moral debate as like sneaking to the Batcave and stuff. It's so awesome.
Yeah,
it's so awesome to watch.
Yeah, well, and that's also in the movie. That's my favorite scene is when Batman goes to Earth Prime with Owlman.
Oh yeah,
and Owlman has that. Cause that was my first kind of injection of the multiverse theory, and I just like fell in love with it immediately.
Wasn't it James Woods? Is the voice of
oh yeah,
James Woods, so good. I need to go rewatch Crisis on Two Earths. I haven't seen it in a long time.
It doesn't hold up as well as I was hoping it would.
No?
It's still good,
okay.
But in my mind, it was always like top 5 for me.
Okay, because
like just because of the multiverse theory.
Yeah,
and that one scene is like that monologue is so cool.
Yeah,
but the rest of the movie is just kind of okay.
Yeah, we should do those movies at some point.
Yeah. I mean, we still have
a lot of
300 plus episodes.
We have
of
a lot of other
content
to do first. Oh God, but yeah, I did overlike this episode. I didn't really. Do you have any like trivia for it, anything like that? I didn't really find anything.
Not really.
The only thing I found was that apparently there are toys for Batmite and Mr. Mixius Pitlick in the guy's office in Rossum's office, but maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention. I just missed that.
I missed Batmite.
I missed that entirely.
I love Batmite.
But that's kind of all I had for this one. There wasn't that much trivia wise, but I thought it was cool to see them do a follow-up to a previous episode before, where the plot actually carried over. Like they did with the Riddler once before, and I guess in some ways you could say like Count Vertigo and then the Demon's Quest.
Yeah.
But this one is very much like a sequel episode to a previous one.
Right. Yeah, it was cool.
They did a good job with it.
Yeah.
Actually. But anything else on this guy before we move on?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, I'm not going to forget this time to include our sponsor. This week, it's Jessica and Solange Take Down the Patriarchy, which I had not listened to it, but I looked it up a little bit. And basically, the two of them discuss popular films from a like feminist perspective. So they do like Love Actually and The Matrix, La La Land, Ghostbusters. It sounds really cool, actually. Like I would love to hear their perspective on like La La Land in particular, a movie that I've said before I did not particularly love, and so I'm very curious what they say about that.
Because it doesn't pass the I feel horrible.
The Bechdel test.
Thank you.
No, I don't.
I don't think it passes that.
I don't think it does. No, I don't. So semi-related. I actually don't think the Fate and the Furious, which you just dragged me to.
Yeah.
I don't think that passes either.
No. 7 did.
Did it?
One of 5, 6, or 7 did. I don't remember which one.
I think maybe one of them must have at some point. But we're going to talk about Fate and the Furious later, or should we just talk about it now real quick?
I mean, I wasn't going to bring it up. But
okay. I just want to
talk about it.
This one thing real quick, because I don't like that franchise except for 5, which I really like. But my point of solace with it has been that it is a huge franchise that always has a lot of diversity both in front of and behind the camera. But it still has a huge problem with being completely focused around like the straight male gaze.
What are you talking about with fast cars, explosions, and girls in little clothing?
I mean, just what? Like, look at the poster like for it, which it's just like 2 muscle cars.
You're out of your mind, Chris.
Go for a drag race on that.
You're speaking bullshit into the microphone right now.
But so
that movie is meant for all audiences,
for all ages,
for all ages.
Backgrounds. But no, I stopped and I realized, like, oh shit, well, like, as much as it does do that, it still doesn't even, I don't think it passed the Bechdel test. So I'm disappointed in it.
Well, it was 6 the one with the infinitely long runway.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one does, because I remember there's a conversation between
Mia,
I forget.
Jordana Brewster, Mia is the sister, and then there's Gina Carano is in that one as like the Rock's assistant.
It was Mia and Gal Gadot.
Oh yeah, I forget her character's name.
Me too.
Okay,
but
so one of the 8 movies
they did. I mean, I don't know about the other ones.
There's no way the other ones do.
I know for sure 3 does not.
No, there's no way.
There's only one girl in 3.
So, you know what? Maybe Jessica and Solange will actually look at the Fast and the Furious franchise at some point. We can get their perspective on it.
Yeah.
I hope they do. But here is the promo for it.
I'm Solange.
Oh.
All right, let's do it again. Start over. I'm Solange.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is our podcast, Jessica and Solange Take Down the Patriarchy.
We break down movies from a feminist point of view to see how they uphold or take down the patriarchy.
Listen to us on Nerdist School Network or subscribe to us on iTunes, or you can find us on SoundCloud. We come out the last Thursday of the month when we can.
Be a part of the resistance just by listening and supporting us. It's that easy. Oh, and go vote at all elections.
And there it was.
Yeah.
So, guys, go check that out. But now we're moving on to our second episode, which is Fire from Olympus.
I loved it.
Did you?
I mean, you know that Hercules is my favorite of the Disney movies. I'm such a sucker for anything like Greek mythology related.
Yeah.
Even though they kind of mess up some of the names in this, a lot of the names.
Yeah, no surprise.
I mean, not even just like pronunciation wise, but like if like a name is too kind of out there, they went to the Roman name instead, which I thought was kind of funny.
When did they do that?
There's a moment when Batman first comes up onto Olympus.
Yeah.
Zeus is, talking to him like he's Hades.
Yeah.
But as he's leaving, he's like, "Oh, is Lord Vulcan treating you as like looking down on you again?" And Vulcan is the Roman god of fire, which is where we get the word volcano from.
Okay, that makes sense.
Fun fact of the day.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even catch that.
We're gonna make a sound effect like sound fact of the day.
I love how you said we.
Yeah, I mean you.
Always trying to find a way for me to do more work.
Yeah. You're the one that set the alarm on my phone to do the artwork.
I know. It helps. It's been helping.
It did help. It did help.
It's a very tight ship we got here, guys. It always suits.
Yep.
sailed so
always
smoothly.
always ahead of schedule.
Yeah. But yeah, this episode was like okay for me. I liked elements of it. I thought it just was all over the place. Like I felt like there was huge chunks that didn't even have to be there, didn't make any sense.
Oh, a lot of this did not make sense.
No, I mean,
but I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, so because it opens with Gordon waiting for a informant. Actually, opens with a cool shot of like Gordon like striking a match to like check his watch, and then the informant almost gets there, but he's stopped by some goons outside of Zorba's Greek restaurant because, of course, it's Zorba's. And he ends up in the back of an alleyway, which my first thought when I saw that as an alleyway is, why are there so many goddamn tires in that alleyway? I don't know if you noticed this, but then the explanation is that when Zeus shows up, when Maxi Zeus shows up and like shoots lightning at the guy, the tires end up absorbing most of the electricity.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which then made me go try and research if tires can actually absorb electricity. I mean, all material does conduct electricity. It's just that rubber has a really low
conduction rate.
Conductivity compared to like metal or something like that. But I couldn't find an answer to the question of whether if you put a whole bunch of rubber around like a lightning strike, if it will diminish the amount of electricity that goes through the
Well, if
other
Static
targets.
Shock has taught us anything when he fights his main villain / sometimes ally, Rubber Band Man, it does.
Okay, well, good. And this all works. This all works in this universe.
And that's it. Yeah, it's in the same universe, so it obviously makes sense.
Yeah, because basically, I guess so. I'm trying to figure this out. So, what the informant is a criminal in the smuggling underworld, right? Like he always knows how to get shipping information to the hands of criminals, right?
Yeah, well, that's what Zeus does.
Yeah, he's a smuggler.
Yeah, Zeus runs the docks.
Yeah,
Was what they were implying.
I guess so. I mean, clearly it's working well for him.
Guys, that building one is so like.
It's like Burj Khalifa size. Like it's enormous.
Yeah, and it's also never in the skyline.
Ever? Yeah. Do
you know who I wrote this guy's name down because he drives me crazy. Do you know who Dan Bazillion?
Dan Balzarian.
Yes.
I know of him.
This is how I imagine he is. Like,
From what I've heard, that's not wrong.
Yeah, just going through a couple of his Instagram posts, like this.
Oh my god!
If he had a cartoon variant, this would be it.
I give you so much credit for even being able to just glance at his Instagram. I could never. It would grate my soul too much.
It's odd. People don't need that much money in their life,
or be that stupid.
Yeah.
Lovely combination there.
Quick side note: did you see his International Women's Day post?
No, I generally avoid him at all costs.
Which got like all of the negativity that it deserved. All of the negativity.
God, what did he say?
It was just like hashtag Happy International Women's Day. And he was like, women are the best. And it was him in a jacuzzi on his boat with a bunch of girls without their tops on. And he was eating sushi off another girl's butt. And like, yeah, that's International Women's Day.
Hashtag feminism.
Yep. He's the front runner for it.
Oh God!
But that's how I imagine Zeus to be in real life.
You know what? I could absolutely see that. I think that's a pretty good pull there.
Yeah.
Because this guy. So I was having a hard time figuring this out too. He's just completely delusional. Like they kind of attempt to give him a sort of explanation for why he's so crazy.
I saw it as
figure this out?
I wish I had time to look up more information about him because he's a villain. Okay, you did,
but it didn't help.
Does he have multiple personality disorder? That's how I imagined it.
What I read up on him didn't specify that he did.
That might just be because I just finished Legion this week.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I don't know. The implication of this episode is that maybe because of he had so many like financial issues, there's a whole bunch of things that didn't make any sense. So we first meet him. Well, actually, the first time we meet him is in that alleyway in that cool kind of silhouette. The second time is up at the top of Olympus, this massive, massive skyscraper in Gotham, taller than everything by, I don't know,
in the
like
clouds.
1.5x. Yeah, it's huge. So he has a shitload of money. I mean, he would have to have, I think, Wayne level money almost to build these things. But when we meet him, he's getting braided by his, I guess, ex-girlfriend / assistant, financial
Cleo,
advisor, CEO. Patrick. His Pepper Potts, more or less equivalent. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, that's a good connection.
Yeah,
Pepper Potts.
Who's basically like, oh, you've like you're dealing with all these like lawsuits and allegations, all these other things. So it's kind of implied that he's out of money.
I think so he's like an underworld kind of guy. So I think he has a surface level business, which is just to kind of
like
run
a shipping
the docks.
company.
Yeah. I think that is doing bad, but his like underground business is still doing well.
Okay.
At least that's how I imagined it.
Okay. I don't know how well. Okay. That's like,
or he was also just stealing all of the stuff that was on the docks. So that was probably why he was having all these lawsuits.
I guess. Because, and this time he's stolen a electric discharge cannon, I believe, right? EDC. Oh.
What?
I was like, EDC is a whole different thing now. So I always love when like you come across these old acronyms that have meaning now.
What is it for you? Because for me, it's Electric Daisy Festival.
Yeah, same.
Carnival. Okay.
Yeah, which I will never go to in my entire life because it sounds like hell.
I like the music. Their after show, like 30-minute after show videos. I like their soundtrack.
Oh, okay. It's not my jam. Bring on some like 70 disco and good to go. But so he's got this thing and he's going to just terrorize the city, I guess.
He has no. That was kind of the biggest problem I had with this episode is he has no motive.
No,
because the first thing he does, which like to be fair requires balls of steel, is just shoot the police blimp.
Yeah, he just shoots down a police blimp, and there seems to be no consequence for it.
Yeah,
like whatsoever. Well, I guess maybe that's part of the reason I didn't love this episode is because the show has pretty much always done a really good job of making you sympathetic to the character, to the villain, because we understand where his motivation's coming from. And we understand what he's trying to achieve. This time, we don't really understand why he's so crazy. He just is. Mm-hmm. It's not really that sympathetic towards him. And then he doesn't have anything he's really trying to do.
To be fair, I did think about this. If I were ever to have that much money, you can bet your ass I'd be talking in an old English accent for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. Like, wouldn't even question it. Like, would I compare myself to a Greek god? Maybe I wouldn't go that far. But, like, I would immediately adapt the, like, asshole, old British guy.
I'm just excited that I eventually get to see the side of you.
I mean, it's going to take, like, billions.
Yeah, that'll eventually happen. I'll be there to witness it.
I don't want that much money. I wouldn't even know what to do with that much money.
Clearly build a podcast studio in your house.
Yeah.
And we'll go podcast forever.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, maybe, like, build, like, a pool house for me or something like that.
Yeah, I'll do something like that.
Okay, cool.
I don't know. Was Bill Gates the one that said after like $50 million a hamburger doesn't taste any better?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's the level I want. Like once food doesn't get any better, I'm fine after that.
That's true. When he's that pinnacle food level.
Yeah. Mm. When I can eat gold leaf just by itself. That level. Eat it like a fruit roll-up.
Achievable life goals. So he's got this cannon. He shoots down a blimp. Batman convinces Cleo, his ex, to Zeus's ex, I'm going to clarify, not Batman's, to help him sneak in to take down Zeus. So one thing that didn't make sense to me, so they break into the building, and so obviously she's just helped Batman. But as far as I know, Zeus and his henchmen don't know that, right? So why do they stop her and like grab her in the elevator when she gets to the building? Because then the next time we see her, she just like walks out of a door and it's like, "No, Maxie, don't shoot at people."
I don't know. Maybe he just didn't want. Maybe he just wanted her to be up there with him.
Yeah, I guess. But then
to enjoy the spectacle.
I guess. But then we cut back up to the top, like the henchmen are up there without her, and she just walks out the door.
Yeah, that's why I think like they weren't. I mean, they were a little handsy with her.
Yeah, like they set that moment up like she's been caught because she just helped Batman, but no one knows that she did, so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I
turned my brain off for this.
I was not paying super close attention. So there's a lot of things that just kind of escaped me. But yeah, so Zeus discovers that Batman's there and tries to kill him with death traps.
Not just any death traps, though. The 12 trials of Hercules.
That's right. Yeah, because the first is the Hydra, which is like a giant snake. Mm-hmm. But the snake did not prepare for Batman's snake repellent.
Yeah, he had snake repellent.
Oh,
that made me so happy. Yeah. There was the snake repellent, and then the snake falls, and then this might have been one of like my favorite action scenes in the show so far.
With the wild boar?
Yeah,
the wild boar that can bust through a concrete wall.
It was so like with the combination of like the sound effects, and they turned off the music, which by the way, the music was very like been her inspired. That's how I imagine.
I kind of like the music, actually. Yeah.
But yeah, they like turn off the music, they up the sound effects, and it's just kind of, and there's no dialogue.
Oh yeah.
And I thought like the animation was great. It was done by Spectrum for this week for both episodes. And like the action was really cool. It was so smooth. Like breaking through the wall, the boar. I loved it.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought it was going to be a lion because that was one of his other tasks.
Oh yeah.
But then like you hear the hooves, and I'm like, oh, it's the boar. Then he breaks through the wall, and it was like right as I thought of it.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of cool. I didn't like how he didn't really take it out. The boar flings him out the window.
And yeah, and he just lands on a ledge.
Yeah.
He's fine, I guess. So then at this point, Zeus has now strapped Cleo to the gun, like to the front of the gun. And he's going to fry her.
He's going to...
Next time he fires it off.
Yeah. He's going to kill her in Olympus so she can become immortal and stay there forever.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of the idea.
That's right.
I think that's how it worked in Greek mythology.
I couldn't tell you. It's been too long.
This was an episode having Vasilius on would have been super helpful because he knows all that stuff.
It really would have, though.
Yeah.
I just listened to your episode of his podcast when you were on there. It was really fun.
Thank you.
Listen to you talk.
Yeah.
You should listen to yourself more often, Cameron. You're very good on a podcast.
No.
I know you won't, but I just had to tell you that.
No, I don't like my voice.
Ugh. You get over it quick when you have to listen to it a lot. But yeah, it would have been helpful to have him here because most of this just went way over my head. I know a little bit of Greek mythology, but not enough. But how does Batman stop the thing eventually?
So first he gets up on the ledge and just kind of throws a batarang around the button.
Oh,
and I guess that it surprises Zeus, so he forgets that he was supposed to press the button. He couldn't have just like pushed around the batarang.
Don't mind me.
Because it didn't break anything. It literally just like landed right in front of the button. And Zeus was like, oh my God, Batman's here. And I also, so there's another moment in this, right before this happens, when they're tying up Cleo. And it's the henchmen disobey.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that we ever see henchmen question the motives.
Because the guy's so crazy. Like, he doesn't have a motive. Like, he doesn't have anything he's trying to achieve. It's like, really?
But of all villains, like, it's not the Joker's henchmen that ever question it. Like, it's...
Well, would you question the Joker?
No, I would not.
Yeah, exactly, right?
You bring up a very good point.
Yeah. Well, but at least everyone else, like, is trying to do something, right? So, like, you know, the Joker still robs banks and Two-Face robs banks, and, like, everyone else... Like, you could theoretically, like, have a living as a henchman for basically anyone else because they actually bring in revenue sometimes.
Right.
With their crimes. Not Zeus. He's just going to shoot at shit. You know, he's not going to hold the city ransom or anything like that. But yeah, it was kind of fun to see them turn on him, kind of.
Yeah. But then he had kind of robot henchmen in the shape of gargoyles.
Yeah, gargoyles with
machine guns and eyes.
Yeah, that Batman takes out with a grenade.
Yeah.
Like a literal grenade.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, actually, was kind of cool.
But hold I just remembered this. So he puts the grenade in the gargoyle's mouth.
Yeah.
It explodes, and then the head still lands intact.
Does it?
Next to Zeus. I completely forgot about that until just now.
Come on, Spectrum, what are you doing? Oh, but that's right. Because then he steals Zeus's like lightning rod that he uses like to electrocute people
yeah.
and he throws it into the machine and it blows it up.
Yeah, it kind of like absorbs the electricity was how I saw it. And then Zeus, having a very tragic Greek ending, loses to his hubris when he jumps out, grabs the lightning rod.
Oh, yeah, and he tries to save it, and then he falls not to his death, but still...
I thought he was a goner.
How did anyone survive this episode? Like the informant at the beginning who gets electrocuted, like to the level where they think he was struck by lightning, like it was that strong.
Yeah.
How did he?
Who's in a coma?
He's in a coma. Everyone's in a coma in this damn show. How did he survive? How did the two people in the crashing, exploding, flaming police blimp not die?
Yeah.
How did Zeus not die?
And
whoever
might have been walking in the street that it landed on.
It just crashed in the middle of the goddamn street. There were so many people that should have died. And I know I've said this before, but episodes like this, like, push the level of credulity of the whole thing. Like, I'm willing to believe that occasionally someone will land in a river or a tree. But in episodes like this, where, like, the threat is death, the whole thing loses tension.
Yeah.
Or, like, credibility because, like, that person should be dead. But somehow they're not.
Yeah.
But I guess the upside of that is that Zeus gets a more poetic. How would you describe that? His final.
I loved the ending.
Yeah,
when he's comparing all of so they're rolling him through Arkham, and he sees all of the other villains, all the Rogues Gallery members, and he's comparing them to their kind of Greek god equivalent.
Yeah,
I thought that was I really enjoyed.
Do you remember
that.
all the comparisons?
I just remember Hermes, not Hermes.
Yeah, was it
Hermes was Joker?
Hermes is Joker. Yanis was Two-Face.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not sure who Poison Ivy was.
I don't remember.
That doesn't matter.
I was trying to get out the door by that point.
Yeah. But he's like so excited to be like, oh, I must be in Olympus. I'm finally surrounded by my
all the
peers,
gods,
by the other gods. It was kind of for the last little button on the episode, it was kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also really glad that we just never had to deal with him again because I wasn't.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I wasn't super taken because he's not really that great of a character. Like I did do some research on him.
Okay.
So his origin or his first appearance was Detective Comics number 483 in May of 1979 from Denny O'Neil and Don Newton.
Mm-hmm.
A similar origin to this, but in the comics, he was a history teacher who goes crazy after his wife left him, and then he ends up rising up and becoming a huge person in the Gotham underworld.
I would love to have my high school history teacher have that same storyline.
I know, right? This is like pre-Walter White level sort of thing here, right? But just nowhere near as cool and way crazier. But even in the comics, he's not considered that dangerous. Like he's not in the maximum security part of Arkham, which I don't know how that makes a difference because everyone's always breaking out of there no matter what.
Right.
But to give you an idea of how kind of terrible he is, one of his attempts to escape is foiled because he runs into a tree.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and he just gets hauled right back in and thrown in there. And I couldn't even find any real substantial arcs. Like there was some arc where he ended up teaming up, I think, with some of the actual Greek gods, like around Themyscira, right? They're actual gods like Ares and some of these people.
Right, yeah.
And I guess he died, but he didn't actually die. And then he wasn't Max Zeus, he became Max Zeus again. I don't know, it was all kind of dumb. I do remember he appears in the Arkham Asylum comic. You've read that, right?
I have not.
Okay. It's weird, it's different, but he's in there like this kind of emaciated, frail guy who's like hooked up to the shock treatment thing. So he's
electrotherapy.
He kind of has electricity running through him or not. It's kind of a weird thing. And then he's referenced in the Arkham games.
Yeah.
And he also has maybe a 2-episode arc in The Batman.
Okay, I don't remember those.
Yeah, it's kind of similar. It's I think it would have been season 3 because it's just Batgirl. I don't think Robin's in there yet. And he builds a giant floating ship and he's going to shoot the city basically like this. And that's about it. But yeah, there's not that much to him. Really.
Of kind of the one-off villains, I think he's my favorite so far.
You know what? I will give you. Okay, that's fair because I think he at least.
I say that without thinking about anyone else besides
I like Vertigo a lot. Vertigo's good.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, compare the Sewer King or the boss of the Chain Gang or all that sort of shit. He at least has personality.
Yeah,
it's batshit crazy, but it's personality. But I don't know. Any other things to talk about Maxi Zeus or the episodes?
I saw this episode being very, very, very Fleischer inspired.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that.
This I could definitely see this being a very similar storyline from a 40s show.
Yeah. You're right. It does feel like one of the old Superman.
And that's also why I kind of let it go. All of the people might have died in there. Mm-hmm. There were definitely moments in the Fleischer comic or in the Fleischer series that were like that, where there's they're fine off screen. We don't have to worry about them.
Yeah.
I think that's why I was kind of in that mentality of just they're fine. I don't care.
Yeah, they didn't care back
except
then.
the big fall at the end. I'm like, oh fuck, he's dead.
He fell he fell 12 stories or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a big muscular guy. He's fine.
Yeah, I guess. That's a lot of cushion, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Kind of does it. What do you got for bat plugs this week?
What do I have for bat plug this week? The Bill Nye new series started up.
Yeah, I watched that?
I watched the first episode of it.
Bill Nye Saves the World?
Mm-hmm. I like it. I don't know the audience they're trying to connect to.
Okay.
Because in the intro, he talks about how he's kind of directing it towards our generation, the people that grew up with his show.
Yeah.
But then once he starts getting into the science stuff, I think it's just that's the only way he knows how to teach it. He dumbs it down a lot, and then the interviews are kind of dumbed down a little bit. But I mean, it's he has done a great job trying to connect to the millennial generation, because the interviewees, it's Carly Kloss, who's she's a runway model, and she's part of the Taylor Swift gang.
Okay.
She's actually really cool.
Okay.
If you ever watched Casey Neistat videos, she makes an appearance pretty often.
Okay.
The Veritasium guy, who's a really big science YouTuber, he makes an appearance. The theme song is done by Chance the Rapper, which I think is hilarious.
Huh.
Like, it's all these things where I saw in my head the boardroom of like, what do teenagers like? They like rap stars. What about this guy who has rapper in his name? Yeah, let's get him.
Quick, all of you, look at your tween kids' Instagrams and tell me what they follow.
Yeah, they follow Taylor Swift. We can't get her.
Yeah.
What about the girl that looks kind of like her?
Yeah. What about Taylor Swift's C-level friend? Can we get her?
Yeah.
Yes.
YouTube. We need some YouTubers.
We need influencers.
Yeah, we need influencers. But yeah, I'm giving it a second episode chance and see how it is.
See, I don't know if I could watch anything Bill Nye that didn't then have the original Bill Nye the Science Guy intro, because that song is still stuck in my head.
Oh, it's great.
20 years
I mean,
on.
all of Bill Nye is on Netflix, as I found out.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I was gonna switch over to that if I didn't like the new series.
I was about ready to say it's always dangerous going back to stuff from our childhood, but we're recording a podcast about a cartoon from our childhood.
Right.
So only have so much to go with there. Anything else? Other
I got this comic. I saw it that it arrived as I was leaving to come and record. But it's Scud. Have you heard of it?
Scud? No.
Yeah, it's Scud the Disposable Assassin, I think is the full title.
Okay.
It was I don't remember when it was originally written, but it's a French comic that apparently got huge. They are really popular in the 90s, and just nothing kind of happened from it.
Huh.
But it's about this kind of future. Honestly, the Meeseeks from Rick and Morty, I think, are based off of these characters.
The Meeseeks.
Because it's basically it's a robot that you get kind of at a vending machine.
Okay.
That you tell it who to assassinate. It goes, and when it kills the person, the robot self-destructs.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Very Mr. Meeseeks kind of mentality.
Yeah.
But this one robot, before he kills his kind of target, he sees on the back that he's going to blow up if he does it. So instead, he just wounds the target, and it's kind of a story of him just like continuing his life.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think it's about. I
Okay.
haven't actually read it yet. I'll give you more information next week.
Hopefully he's more successful than the Meeseeks and Jared's golf score. 'Cause
Yeah.
we see what happens if you try and do that.
Yeah, I don't. One of my friends recommended it months ago, and I don't remember who or why, but it finally got here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. What do you have to plug?
So I started watching Black Mirror finally. Yeah. So, but I mean, I'm watching it from the beginning. So just the first 2 episodes from way back in season 1. I really liked them both.
What were those two? Because I jumped around. I never finished the series.
Okay, so
around.
the first episode is the British Prime Minister. I won't say what it is, but he's asked to do something in order to save a member of the royal family.
Okay, I didn't watch that one.
Okay, and the second one it's kind of a riff off of like reality TV shows. It was a weird world. It's like everyone lives in these like completely video screen enclosed spaces, and they like ride stationary bikes to earn credits, and then they can use those credits to buy an entry ticket to like an American Idol sort of talent show thing. It was weird.
I don't think I watched that one either.
Yeah, I found the first one was more or less grounded in like the real world, and the second one was like this really bizarre world that they didn't completely explain, but it kind of worked. They didn't. The lead actor in that is also the lead actor in Get Out, which I still haven't seen.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool, but like seasoning from a number of years ago, like, oh, he's gonna get like
he's
really
about to get famous.
Yeah, he's about to get famous. It's awesome. But I really enjoyed them both. So I'm excited to kind of keep going through, and I can see why people say that it's intense, because the first one had like a semi-satirical element to it. The second one definitely did not. It was just like straight up dark.
Oh yeah. There's an episode in season 2. Oh god, I can't remember the name of it, but it's you follow this girl, and like the whole world is kind of following her and taking photos of her, and she doesn't know what's happening.
Oh shit.
And it's crazy. Like it it still kind of fucks with me at the end.
Yeah. No, I mean, it seems like it's kind of fucked up, but it's super interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I finally started doing that, and I'll get to that.
It's not a show that I could ever binge. Like it.
No, there was
so heavy.
Like a week in between those first 2.
Yeah.
So
that's how I was.
Yeah. So that was that, and then this would be considered a very old reference, but I rewatched over the weekend with some friends Clue.
Clue.
And I just
done it?
I had to bring it up because it is one of my all-time favorite movies, probably my favorite comedy ever.
Yeah.
And I love it because if people know it and they've seen it, they're like, "Oh my god, it's amazing!" And if people haven't heard of it, like, "Wait a minute,
you mean the board game?"
Wait, so it's a murder mystery comedy in the '80s based off of a board game, and it's good.
It stars Tim Curry.
But I love, absolutely
me
love
too.
that movie. So I had to mention that just because it's absolutely amazing. And if you haven't seen it, whoever's listening, go watch it as soon as you possibly can. Yeah. I think it is one of the most perfectly structured comedies of all time, too. I don't want to say why if you haven't seen it, but
it's
great. Yeah. But yeah, so those are our plugs this week.
Yeah.
And that, I think, does it for us
this
week, too. I also just realized that you're wearing your Air Herc hat. Was that deliberately chosen because of...
No, I didn't even realize. It's just because the
Greek
hat
connection?
that I wear,
Okay.
and I didn't comb my hair before this.
Oh, I love how you think you need to comb your hair before you come here.
It's not here. It's just leaving my house.
Okay, I was like, I'm literally sitting in a tank top.
That's fine.
So
It's your house.
yeah,
You didn't have to leave.
that's true. You should just be grateful I put pants on.
Yeah. Oh, I'm very grateful.
Yeah, you should be. But that does it for us this week. We're back next week with, I don't know the episodes, but I can look them up real fast.
The last two.
Read My Lips with
And the Worry Man,
the ventriloquist.
Right?
Oh,
yay.
yes. I didn't know that was happening. Okay, now I'm very excited for next week. Yes, because it is another Mad Hatter episode, but it is also the ventriloquist, who is one of my favorite villains.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
then
good.
that's the end of season 1,
That's
right?
the end of season 1, and then it's Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah. 2 weeks.
I know. Super excited for that. God, I love that movie. Mm-hmm. I've already seen it twice as we've been recording this.
Well, we saw it once together.
Yeah, we saw it once in the theater with New
Okay.
Beverly, which was awesome, but I've also watched it on my
Yeah.
own.
We'll talk about that more later.
Yeah. But yeah, so that'll be the next few weeks here. Until then, you can find us at Tim Talk Pod on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And I am at Lordifer on all those same things.
I'm at Cameron.Dexter.
And thanks so much for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
The Nerdist School Network. For class and show information, visit nerdistschool.com.